Hello and welcome everyone to In-Between The Chords, our weekly side episodes where we talk about all kinds of shit. Today we're going to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. It just hit theaters on February 14th. We're doing the episode now, a little more than 4 or 5 days later, about a week later actually. And we're going to give our thoughts on it. Brandon has not seen the movie, so we're going to be arguing our points. Rex and I saw it yesterday. DannyBoy saw it maybe like last week, so I'm your host, Practikal.
DannyBoy in the house.
Your boy, Rex.
Hey guys, it's Brandon again.
It's always
made
such
it.
a
Love
humbling
I
intro.
love
when
it.
Brandon
Yes,
joins
it is great. Danny, I really want you to lead this off because you saw it first.
Why?
You gave that rating right off the bat.
Yeah, you started it with
Let's hear this.
This
Let's
movie
hear
sucks.
this. I want to hear this
All right,
defense.
first things first.
and
When we
attack.
discussed that we were going to see this, you all three know my thoughts on Marvel. There are some that are okay or whatever, but like I've never been into those movies. Like
You're
I'll
not a
go
nerd,
see-
all right? We get it.
I'm a nerd in a different way.
You ain't no nerd.
Anyways,
But you ain't no nerd.
No,
Yeah.
I wanted to give this movie the benefit of the doubt in the sense that, like, okay, obviously it's not Chris Evans as Captain America anymore. Okay, I got that. That's fine. But to my point, I just feel like Anthony Mackie is a good actor. I've seen him in other stuff where he's really good, but like for me, this just didn't really hit it. Like he wasn't as believable. Now I know that they've not done his character dirty before in previous movies, but I felt like he kind of was in this one for whatever reason. The opening sequence really irked me, and I thought that was going to like set the tone. I thought the fighting was a little too choreographed, and some of the CGI was a little too not believable. Again, I know it's CGI. I get it. It's not real. He's not supposed to have fucking wings out of his back. But that just set the tone for me, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to really enjoy this. So,
All right, let's pause there on the opening sequence. What did you guys think of the opening sequence?
That's the funny thing. So I told Rex this when we left the theater. I was like, all right, for the first 20, 30 minutes, I was starting to feel Danny's frustration with the film. The way it kicks off is a little, I don't want to say not good, but a little like, what the hell's going on here? Like, not because it's hard to follow, but because the fighting, as I told Rex, did look super stiff in the beginning. Like they don't really, like it just seems so formulaic and so bland that it's like we've seen all this shit before. We've seen Cap do these moves before. You're not adding really any new flair to it. Throwing the wings on you doesn't really do anything early on in the film. So just addressing the first 10, 20 minutes of it, the first opening scene, yeah, I could start to see where he was coming from. But if I may say, and I said this to Rex, I think that sometimes Danny will judge a movie before it's even over, before it has time to redeem itself and actually be good, and you hold the intro or the first 20, 30 minutes against the entire fucking film. And I don't
we
always
haven't
think
even
that that's
talked about
fair.
the second half, bro. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But Brandon's laughing because he fucking knows what I'm saying, and
Danny can hold a grudge against the opening act.
Yeah.
if he
and I think it's just you just got to be fair here. Like I get your
It's gonna make or break the movie for me. It's just like a
Hey,
formula that I
that's
follow.
fair though.
That's fair. I mean-
Some people watch. That's how it is.
And
your,
sometimes
you know.
the beginning could be bad, but like I'll still be like, okay, maybe this is gonna turn around. Like I, for whatever reason, felt in the first 10 to 20 minutes of this movie, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. Like I really am trying. I'm really trying, but like I'm not gonna like this.
You're really
All right,
trying in
Rex.
that review.
Opening act.
Yeah, the opening act wasn't that strong. I actually wasn't a fan of the Falcon and Winter Soldier show they did prior to this to kind of, solidify his passing of the shield to Anthony Mackie's character. But after that, yeah, it gets a lot better. And me and Practikal talked about it before we went into this movie, and we're like, this movie's probably gonna suck so bad. And like I had hopes in Ant-Man 3, and I went and saw that, and I hated myself for going to see that. That movie sucked.
Oh my god.
So I'm like,
MODOK?
Guardian
Are you
3
kidding
was really
me?
good. Was really good, but like, it's been shaky. And a lot's been going on with this movie and Marvel, so I was like 90% positive this movie wasn't gonna suck.
All right. Round
I'm
one
really
over.
surprised.
I'm still not gonna go see it.
All right. Well, let me just
Round
kick
two.
off.
Here we go.
Let me just kick off the second round and say it gets much better. There are some scenes in the movie that are genuinely interesting, and they capture the espionage spy aspects that the previous Captain America films laid down, but without piggybacking on them, which has been something that Marvel has been guilty of doing to the point where you're like, oh, I remember that. But this movie stands kind of on its own, and it does feel like Anthony Mackie's own specific outing in the role. Now, I did tell Rex in the beginning of the movie that I don't think Anthony Mackie is anything special in terms of acting. I really don't think he has much range. He's pretty much the same dude in everything he's in. He's a kind of a smart ass. He's decent at being dramatic, but he's nothing special. So I don't think the acting in this movie is any different than any other performance in his career. So I don't think that can be held against him in this film. All that said, though, it does get vastly better. So for my kickoff here to part two or act two, I think, or round two, sorry, I should say, I think that the movie does have its moments that shine. And the CGI is also not a bad moment in the movie. I actually think Red Hulk looked pretty fucking great.
Super good, especially their track record with some previous movies.
Yeah, and the fact that it's Harrison Ford playing the role, and you can tell that when he's the Red Hulk, his facial scan of Harrison Ford is very believable. Like the emotions you see in Harrison Ford's real face, you can still see in Red Hulk's face, and I think that's masterful work. So,
okay,
yeah.
Well, so yeah, as the movie progresses, it does get better, and I feel more as it progresses that Anthony Mackie doesn't want to be Captain America that Chris Evans was. He's trying to set himself apart from Steve Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to be Captain America, but not Steve Rogers. And I think this movie, especially moving forward past the first 20-30 minutes, he really starts to show that, like refusing the super serum, the wings, his interpretation of being Captain America, and he still holds the values of who Captain America is, which is unwavering and good.
Mm-hmm.
And and he has these issues with Harrison Ford's character, Thaddeus Thunderbolt, where he's got to compromise. He knows who he is, which, if you know who Thaddeus is, he's not a good guy at all. But now he's president, and he's got to either submit to him or go on his own again. And it's kind of that hard place to stand on your morals or, do what Captain America is, thought to do, which is stand for America, do this, but under the control of the president. So I think Anthony Mackie nails it for being this version of Captain America, because you can't think of Chris Evans as anymore. He's gone. This is who Captain America is, but he's not a copycat. He's not a carbon copy of him. He's not like a recast. This is a new Captain America. So I think he nailed it.
Yeah, and it's cool to see Isaiah Bradley, the other super soldier that was once Captain America. I think he plays a pretty integral part in the film and was a nice touch. And, it made Anthony Mackie's character have something to care about aside from saving the world, because he's got all these things that are coming at him that make him possibly morally challenged because of his position with the government and the president, that he now has Isaiah Bradley that he has to kind of protect.
So it's kind of his
him,
Winter Soldier, basically.
Yeah, in a way, it is kind of like that. Yeah, and it's cool because obviously, comic book people know out there that Isaiah Bradley was one of the Captain Americas in the comic books. So it's a nice callback to that. He's an old man in the movie, and I love that as well. So, but I think it's Danny's turn to give his part around too.
Let's hear it.
You've all been waiting for, right?
Let it rip.
I'm not taking away from Anthony Mackie's, version of Captain America. I get it. He didn't got the super serum, so he's like, oh, cool. I'll take these little pussy wings that, can turn into projectiles and, give me a force field or whatever. Like, that's cool. But, like, for me, Captain America, just like having that badass strength was so cool, so I guess if this is part of the comic books and how they play out or whatever, then maybe I'm not understanding it, and that's fine. But it just, I don't know. He was kind of stale. And then for me, also what bothered me, and obviously they couldn't do this because he died. Them changing the character of Thaddeus Young from being William Hurt to Harrison Ford. And the only reason that it bothered me so much was obviously because of the ending, which for those of you who haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but someone comes up from that movie, and
From
that's
the Hulk movie.
correct.
Mhm.
And then that it for me as a viewer, someone that doesn't watch these things regularly, that pissed me off. I'm like, no, that's not your dad. Like, and again, maybe that's what happened in the comic books, was that he became the president, and then that's how he became the Red Hulk. And like, okay, then maybe I'm not understanding that. But
You just don't like the recast.
Wait, are you
Right.
upset that the other guy died and blaming it on the movie?
I'm just upset that he died, and it's like,
Like,
can we
what
do a
did they
different
do?
guy?
So-
No, what I'm trying to say is, can we get a different guy to be the Red Hulk? Why does it
No,
have to be him?
Thunderbolt Ross
No,
is
Thunderbolt
the Red
is the
Hulk.
Red
Yeah.
Hulk. So
Yeah.
like
the Red Hulks. So
that's-
yeah,
Well, there you go.
and I was just about to clear that up. Like that's obviously something, and again, you shouldn't have to know that going into the movie, right? But these movies are pinpointed at comic book nerds and the younger adult audience.
There
So,
you
like,
go.
The
There you
younger
go.
adult audience isn't going to even point that out, but the comic book nerds are going to know that, and we can't have Thunderbolt Ross in the film in any of the movies, be anybody else but Red Hulk, because it's integral to his storyline.
Mhm.
So and another thing too is this movie has several callbacks to that Edward Norton Hulk film, because Samuel Stearns comes back and we get to see his
Right.
character,
Yep.
be the villain, and that callback is
Oh, the
is
leader.
pretty good. Yeah, and he's pretty good actually in the movie. Now, granted, it's still that stupid age-old trope with the Marvel movies that the villain's kind of weak, but it still fits with that Captain America spy espionage shit. It's perfectly in line with it because of how the story unfolds with Thaddeus Ross and everything like that. And I loved Harrison Ford in this movie, and lately he's fucking pissed me off into oblivion. But I thought he did a
was
great
good in
fucking
this shit,
job in
too.
this movie, and like for his age too, he nailed the role, and I felt for him several times, even though he is kind of a scumbag. There were several times though where I'm like, he's the president now, all the shit's being thrown at him, and he's got to try to manage the new Captain America. He's thinking about reforming the Avengers. He might have died, so that's why he was working with Stearns, and that might be a little bit of a spoiler, but things like that. So like, I just liked him. I thought he was good. So
He did. He nailed his
I was
role.
also really hoping to get Seth Rollins in there, but when I found out that his part was cut out of the movie, that kind of pissed me off too.
And if you caught our last week's or a couple days episode, we talked about Giancarlo Esposito, who was popping up in all kinds of Spike Lee shit, and here he is in Brave
again.
New World. And it's
following
funny
me, bro.
because
He's following
his
me.
character was part of the reshoots. He wasn't in the original cut. They
Right.
got back together and added his scenes in later. But I thought he was also pretty badass in the movie.
He
like
was.
the scenes
Was he the
they added him
Sinister
into.
or something. or
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder, yeah.
So they still use the Serpent Society, or
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, what was his little sidekick's name? That guy was kind of pissing me off too.
He's the new Falcon.
Yeah, he's
Correct.
taking over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy. Didn't like him.
He was all right. I mean, he's the comedic relief guy. That's the
Yeah.
Adrian
He was
Trope of
supposed to be the
those movies, right?
comedic relief.
He was pretty fun. I laughed at several things he said, man. I
Hell
don't know.
yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah.
think I don't know.
think it just blew over my head, honestly. So
It's that first 20 minutes you were holding on to.
I just think that the fatigue of the superhero films
I was
is
going to say, there's just too many of these things, man.
it's setting in on a lot of people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the movies coming out are all bad. That's something I've been waiting to say when we jumped into this. It's like, yeah, I get it, but if you didn't watch all the shows and you've only been periodically watching the movies, which Guardians 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, and now Cap, none of those movies are bad. Like, so it's not
Oh,
really
I like those
fatigue.
previous two you mentioned. Absolutely. Hell,
It's
I even like Craven. And dare I say, I like Craven.
fucked.
I like
See, that's-
Craven better than
that's-
this movie, dude.
What
That's
are
gotta
you
be
even
part of
talking
round
about?
three.
What, is Moby is your top 5 favorite movie ever, too?
So
Oh,
let's
man.
get to round 3 with this and address this Craven the Hunter
Okay, round two.
bullshit.
The best
haven't
part
even
of this whole
watched
fucking
it.
movie, the best part of this whole fucking movie was Harrison Ford versus Anthony Mackie. That's it. That fight was pretty dope.
I
I
disagree.
will look at that.
It was
But
badass.
honestly, like after that, I was like, "Oh my god, thank God it's over!" Like, and it wasn't that long of a movie too, which was kind of nice. But I don't know. Again, maybe it's just I've got to get used to Mackie being the Winter Soldier, the Captain America, and maybe it would have benefited for me to actually watch the show to actually see how that kind of, because like for me as an outsider, I obviously know how Chris Evans hangs it up and I'm an old man now, but like all of a sudden this movie starts and Homeboy just comes flying down from the ground and here comes choreographed fighting, like that kind of put me in a bad mood, and I think that's what kind of ruined it for me. Was like I was like, wait, huh? Like not that I didn't think that he earned the right to be Captain America, but because I didn't know the background, and this motherfucker just shows up and just
what's this Power Ranger shit?
Exactly.
So to address that, I went into the movie with a pretty negative attitude because
Hell
I too am experiencing the superhero fatigue, but I've done something about it, and I stopped watching all the content they put out aside from the movies. And I was on the whole, I don't really want Anthony Mackie to be Captain America train. After watching this movie, I think the movie convinced me that it is time for him to be Cap. I liked his take on the character. He's different than Steve Rogers. He represents a completely different sect of that mindset, and I think we see it on full
Wakanda
display.
armor. That was pretty sick.
And the
Like
movie
kinetic
setting up
energy.
the adamantium, and
I did like that. So
all
that
of
kind of got
that-
me giddy because I like X-Men. X-Men's dope.
Yeah, and I'm happy that we're getting that segue into that. And I don't think you should have to watch a show to be able to understand a movie.
I am right there with you. I wish
My opinion of movies is a movie should be a movie and stand on its own,
Mhm.
Exactly, and I agree with that. But also, you suspend disbelief for so many other things. The bottom line here is you fucking know Steve Rogers gave Anthony Mackie the shield. You don't fucking need anything else. He's the new Captain America. The Captain America passed the torch to the new Captain America. You don't need to watch the show. Don't be a dick. Fucking just know that he's the new Captain America. It's that simple. And I'm just being real. I'm just being real. You don't need to watch those 8 episodes or whatever it was, 6 episodes. It's irrelevant. I watched it. I thought it was actually pretty tight. Kurt Russell's son fucking kills it in that shit. It's one of the better
US
of those
agent?
shows. Yeah, like
He was
it's
probably
pretty.
one of the best parts.
To speak to one of your earlier points yesterday, Danny. It's very violent and it's more adult violence. So you should check it out. But do you need to watch it to enjoy this film? No, I don't think so. I think what you need to do is just understand that again, the Cap passed the torch to this Cap, and this is the new Cap. And I get you saying
No Cap.
No Cap. And I get
No cap
I
on
get
the
you
Cap.
I get you saying that he's not your Cap. Totally understand that, but if
No
you're
Cap.
going to continue to watch the new saga of this Phase 5 and
I
beyond,
don't know if I can. I was going to actually get to that. I don't know if I can.
but you love Craven the fucking Hunter, dude. Get
Okay.
absolutely fucked, all right?
Again, here's why I loved that
man.
movie. I
This is
loved
like-
how violent that movie was. Did that movie rule? No way. That movie sucked. That movie's story was horrible, but I loved the action. The action kept me locked in. I was like, oh, dude, because there's blood and stuff, and like, you really don't get a full explanation of like, oh, so this kid got attacked by a lion, and then some chick hit him with some serum, and now he could talk to shit. Like, it didn't really fully explain it, but like, I didn't really care. It entertained me. This movie entertained me in little intervals, like, and again, the end being the most entertaining part for me. But it's just the little things that bothered me. Okay, I get it. You guys like the movie. That's totally fine. I just didn't like it.
See, and for me, like as someone who hasn't seen it, that's kind of been one of the things I haven't liked about the marketing. I understand why they're showing Red Hulk in all the marketing, but I kind of feel like maybe if he's only in the end of the movie, maybe that should have been a surprise, But
Right. Like people that were comic book nerds should have known, like, ooh, I think this is when they're going to do Red Hulk, but they shouldn't have showed it.
See,
Well,
I
they're still
disagree.
trying to make money, and they got to show the kids who want to see just a superhero movie who don't know who Thaddeus Thunderbolt is. They wouldn't know he's in there, so they're like, "Oh, great!"
And it's
That's a whole nother story.
ultimately it's a kids movie. I mean, it really is
Exactly what I was going to get to. If they really wanted to like hold the allure, like I wish they made these movies for us. You know, the people that actually read the comic books. These kids nowadays, they're too young. They never read
Bitch,
comics.
you didn't read
see-
no comic book.
Yeah, see, I gotta stop you right there.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about our age group, you son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
but comic
But-
books are for kids.
Comic books are for kids. That's what I was gonna say. The content of a comic book is not fucking
Most
tits and
comic
ass
books.
and
Go
bloody
walk up to a
and gory.
13-year-old kid today and ask how many comic books he's read.
This comic book is
Probably
not
a
for
lot.
kids.
Probably a lot
Oh,
because
hell
nerds are in now. They've
Invincible.
been in for the last 15 years. So your point to walk up to a 13-year-old and
Kids
ask how many
nowadays are
comics
not
he's
nerds.
read,
Kids nowadays
he's
are
probably read a
tired.
lot. Well, see, you're probably just one of those guys that hated on people that read comic books. That's where all
I
this is
didn't.
coming
My
from.
brother had an illustrious collection. I didn't hate on it at all.
Mm,
I just
I
don't have the
know.
patience with those little
He's
frilly
like,
pages.
I
I was
can-
like, rip them out.
Look, at the end of the day, what really fuels my rage and wants me to turn into the Red Hulk is the comparison that this movie could be worse than a Sony directed fucking Marvel movie.
Man, don't knock
when
it till you
they
watch it, baby.
no,
Just
I don't
knock
need
it
to
till you
fucking
watch it.
no,
Gets your
You
no,
should
blood
watch it.
boiling, huh?
no,
I
because
should make you watch it.
how many of those Sony fucking
Actually,
Marvel
I'm gonna be
movies are
sending
good?
you a copy.
But
None of
it's
them
like-
are. None of them are.
Zero. Exactly. So Craven is better than fucking
Amazing
Brave New World.
Spider-Man was okay.
Well, I was about to say Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, and Amazing Spider-Man. They're all great.
Okay, but those are movies that are early
You mean
in
like
the early
Marvel universe, like
in the early stages of Sony trying out what they have with Spider-Man, right? Now they've decided to do this expanded fucking stupid ass universe, which is now dead with the failure of Craven, might I fucking add, where
Oh, yeah.
MCU
Your
is
favorite
still
movie,
going
fucking nail in the
strong.
coffin, need
Can't
it.
wait to mail your copy.
Mail me a copy. I'll watch it, and then we'll do a follow-up episode, and we'll fucking
And you'll be like,
shit
man,
on
you
that
were
movie."
right. This movie sucks, but it's pretty badass.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I think that the way they did Red Hulk was actually pretty great because the movie builds tension with Harrison
Probably.
Ford, and you as the viewer are like, shit, is he? I mean, if you're a comic book fan, you know Thaddeus Ross is going to turn into the Red Hulk, and the movie keeps you hooked until it finally happens.
Oh,
there
man.
are
Well,
so
unless
many
they
like
do something with his
gonna
ass, man, they're gonna have to
happen.
recast him again. Harrison Ford is 82 years old, bro. Like,
yeah, but Harrison Ford is
you
one
better
of the
pump out
celebrities.
another movie where he either dies or he turns into another actor, like he did.
He
Gonna
will
start taking
be
in
William Burt.
adrenochrome.
he will be in the Thunderbolts movie if you know anything about.
No,
the
I know
comic
that.
books,
Yeah,
it's
I-
named
you know what's
after
funny?
him.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking forward to that movie, but that's for
That
another
movie
reason,
looks
so.
fun. I will say that movie looks like a lot.
I'll
of
That's
watch
fun.
got
it.
flow in
Let
it,
it
dude.
have
I'm
David
in.
Arbor in it, and I'll kill myself.
Yeah, and it's got Rex's favorite guy, David Harbour.
Hell
Love
yeah!
it. I love him.
Hopper.
I don't
I
know.
love him.
Rex and I both, and Rex obviously should speak his end of it here, but like Rex and I both went in there talking shit, and we both walked out saying like, okay, it was pretty good. Like I expected to flame it. I was waiting to get on Letterboxd and be like, hell yeah, I agree with Danny, but it was the exact opposite. So you know, like, and that's not a forced thing. Like I'm sitting there
Man, you just
watching
gotta get
it.
your eyes checked. It's all good.
Nah, I think you just need to. No, the whole thing is like there's biasness on both sides. I'm a Marvel fan and I've enjoyed the MCU for the most part. You are not really a Marvel fan and have not enjoyed the MCU for the most part. So those two things are going to feed into our opinions at the end of the day. But do I think the movie was a good time? Yeah, I was entertained by it. I don't think it's nearly as bad as you're making it out to be. And I can't wait for Bont to see it. Hopefully when it hits to streaming or whatever. And
Exactly
to
how
see
he's
what he
going to
says.
see it. So
That's
that means he's
fine.
not going to watch it.
I think he'll watch it. I have a feeling he'll still watch it. But
I hope so.
he'll
The
let
movie
us
was
know at
good.
the end.
If
here.
he's smart and doesn't want to waste 40 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes of his life.
What do you
It's
mean?
2
You want him to
hours.
watch
It's 2 hours
Craven,
long.
and you're worried about wasting people's time?
I think
Based
I
on
will
something
probably
better.
watch it on Disney Plus.
Mhm.
When it hits there, which should be soon because everything gets there pretty quickly now.
Pretty
Mhm.
quick, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as in terms of Marvel movies, I mean, I really liked the first couple of phases up until Endgame. Obviously, there's some stinkers in that first run of movies, and I know that
Captain
movies
Marvel.
and studios need to make money, and so they have to keep the franchise going. But I really think there should have been, man, I think like a 10-year break from comic book movies after Endgame, and then when people are like, "Man, remember comic book movies? How sick they were," and then you bring back
Kind
a
of like what
fucking-
happened when they made like Spider-Man. Like, yeah, they had those first 3 ones by Sam Raimi, and then like there was kind of a little bit of a break, but then it took a while for them to get that first
Yeah.
Avengers out and Iron Man.
Because I mean, for me, Endgame, there's such a finality to it, and none of the newer movies have any of the style or the charisma of those, that kind of first run of movies. I mean, most of the actors aren't even in the roles anymore.
Right.
So
stop making them.
But so like,
and let me just real quick before you start to your point, they're starting to use characters that no one cares about, like,
which was what I was going to bring up. However, I don't necessarily think the MCU should keep going on forever, but I also do not think that any of these movies are so bad that it should be done right now. I think there's still a good interest in them. I think that if they hone down and focus, and they stop using so much fucking filler, which as we've seen recently, they're going to start doing. They're going to tone back the amount of shows and the amount of movies per year again, like they were originally doing. And I think they can bring it back. I think we just need to cut out a lot of the filler, like I said, and also address, people are so mad that there might be new people in the shoes of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor to some extent, but that happens in the comic books as well. So it's not something that can necessarily be held against the MCU, but just comics on the whole. And it's
hey, I'm down for
cop-out,
Riri, for Ironheart. I'm down for it.
And
Miles Morales,
that would be cool.
Cut.
Yeah. Exactly. And then that's like addressing a whole new generation. So I don't think there's really anything wrong with that per se. However, all that said, I'm still with you guys. I think it's been overdone and the fatigue is still there. I think there's just a level of, like I said, biasness on my part, and I can happily admit it, that, I'm enjoying these movies still, because when I was a kid, all I wanted was to see this shit on the big screen. And as an adult, I'm seeing it now, and it's cool as fuck. Like, it's just it's like you said before, Bon, everybody needs junk food. I think MCU movies are kind of at that point.
Yeah.
But they're good fun. If I want to see superheroes beat the fuck out of each other, I'm gonna watch these movies. And that's kind of where I'm at with it,
All right.
And I'm excited for Fantastic Four and X-Men, and those are kind of going to be my drawing points. If either of those movies are not good, like I hope they are, I'll probably be done myself. But I'm along for the ride until then. So
I have been eagerly awaiting like a good Fantastic Four movie, so I hope this is one. I even like the original Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, honestly, because they did Doctor Doom kind of shitty, but everything else was done pretty well. Yeah. I mean, but you got to do Doctor Doom well if you're going to do Fantastic Four.
Good luck, RDJ.
He's integral.
Good luck, yeah. I agree with Brandon, though. They should have taken a longer break after Endgame. Endgame was such a build-up, and in my opinion, it paid off.
Yeah.
It paid off everything that was built up. But up until
and just think
now,
of how much money these movies cost. And like you can make like 4 John Wicks for the cost of 1 Captain America.
That is true. But I mean, got to spend money to make money. Sometimes.
Well, their returns are still big. Even when they do like, lukewarm, they still double, triple their money. So it's like, I mean, it's a no-brainer for
China.
I mean, it's guaranteed money on.
I don't know how China's going to do with a black Captain America, though.
Well, the movie's releasing there.
So, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's releasing there. The posters aren't too favorable, so maybe don't look those up.
Anthony Mackie's like dead under the Red Hulk.
No, they have the Red Hulk punching down and holding a shield, but it's a dude just in red, like he's all red. There's not even a suit; he's just red.
That's fun.
So I don't know how that is going to go over, but they are releasing it with.
They just color graded Anthony Mackie as a red guy the whole movie.
Fucked up.
That'd be messed up, but
oh man,
it's a good movie. Also, after that first scene, you see how Anthony Mackie is really good at incorporating the shield into fighting. I have a couple gripes about it. Like, he doesn't have the super serum, but how does he throw the shield like that? Like, that shield it's adamantium, so
unless that thing had some propulsion.
It's vibranium. That shield is vibranium. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, it builds up, but still, he throws it like Captain does with his strength. Like he throws it and bounces it off things. Like I get it's vibranium, but it still is going to take immense amounts of strength to do that. So that part wasn't believable, although it was cool to see. But I do like how Anthony Mackie fights with the shield a lot differently than Chris Evans' character, and incorporating his shields. Like
maybe uses more finesse than strength.
Yeah, like it's all about flow, it seems like, because he blocks a lot with the shield, like way more than Captain ever did. Obviously he has to. He doesn't have the super serum, but it's just impressive.
That was one of the things that I keep seeing online that's a gripe with that. They're like, he doesn't have super strength. How can he like take all this like punishment from the Hulk? It's like, dude, his suit is made of vibranium. It absorbs all of that.
Well, and he does break some bones in that movie. He's like, I got some broken ribs,
Like, and when
he doesn't walk away
the Hulk. He does have a moment where he's just like,
he gets his ass whooped, dude.
Yeah, and you can see it, and you can tell that his wings do take a lot of what happens. But
but vibranium is going to absorb all of that shock too, most of it anyway.
Not when you're as pissed off as Thaddeus Ross,
yeah, it is such a badass ending fight. So I think that one hopefully spells a good direction, because now the last 3 real big ones have been good, with Guardians 3, Deadpool, Wolverine, and now for me at least, Brave New World, which again I went in with real negative thoughts about that, so I'm really happy that it came out good. Because I like Anthony Mackie. I like quite a few of the movies he's been in. I do agree with Practikal. He's kind of a pretty predictable and same character, but I think it works with the roles he chooses.
Yeah,
because he's not like going to be in a movie like Crash or anything like that, So, but yeah,
I liked Guardians 3, but I thought on repeat, Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't hold up as much on repeat viewings. It's a lot of like flash and like moments for the theater to be like, get like theater reactions for like a trailer, but it's a very okay movie to me.
Those all kind of sound like Deadpool things, but that's just my take on it. Like, I feel like people are way too hard on that movie because
like all the cameos and shit, it's all movie theater reaction bait, like I don't know. That movie's okay.
I enjoyed it. I don't think, like I said, it's better than fucking Madam Web. It's actually pulling something and making it worth watching at least once or twice. With that shit, I still haven't even seen Madam Web. I've seen like 4 or 5 scenes online, and I'm just like, no, I'm good, because they have a terrible track record, and MCU does not. MCU's got
Web is
quality.
I just like Hugh Jackman too. I will say, I do love me some Hugh.
Yeah, and he's fucking badass in that movie.
I watched the first Thor like 3 times before I'll watch Madam. I won't ever watch Madam Web again. That movie is so bad I can't even put it into words. I can't believe I watched it. I regret that time in my life.
Is Craven streaming anywhere? Because I'll fucking watch that bitch tonight. I don't give a
fuck.
No,
I'm pretty sure my freaking roommate bought it, because I was looking for it before I had seen it, and I saw that he bought it, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. And it's pretty bad. Pretty bad dialogue, but the action is sweet. And Russell Crowe's pretty sweet, too.
Hell yeah.
I mean, fat Russell Crowe is always awesome.
Dude, you can never beat Unhinged, man.
Twice as fat and twice as sweaty.
Don't be honking at him.
I did want to. One thing I've been waiting to say, and in the episode is, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I would love for them to do kind of a Logan style approach to Captain America, and have Chris Evans come back and play an older Steve Rogers just for one movie, and it be kind of grainy and more adult oriented, because Steve Rogers is an older character in the comic books than we got in the MCU. Chris Evans' version of him is more youthful and less like veteran status than the Captain America in the comics. So I think it would be kind of cool if we did get one more outing with Evans, as that rustic hard edge Cap.
Well, they're probably going to save it for Mackie, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Evans calls for a pretty penny these days.
Yeah, too bad.
They got that bankroll,
not
though.
Great.
Yeah.
He earned that money though from making what $100K on the first Captain America movie. I think was his
Jeez.
reported salary.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that movie sucked.
That's like the best one. What are you
The
talking
first one
about?
is great,
Winter
dude.
Soldier is the best one.
I
Captain
used to
America.
think Winter Soldier was the best one, but the older I get, I think Captain America: The First Avenger is the best one.
I've watched
Dude,
that
that
one, I
Christopher
just can't
Columbus,
get
dude,
over it.
gets me cut.
Hell yeah.
I can't watch
Or
Yeah,
that
Chris
one and take
Columbus,
it
whatever he
serious.
is.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes by Christopher Columbus.
I
Right?
would-
Rex and I have argued about this fucking movie so many goddamn times. Like, he hates the first Avenger. I've always loved it, and I'm always like, how do you hate it? It's fucking sick, dude.
Dude, that one, the first Thor, the second Thor.
Isn't
probably
Harrison
likes- he
Ford in
likes-
that movie, by the way?
What movie?
Which one?
In the first Avenger? Isn't he a character in that movie?
No,
or am
Tommy
I
Lee
tripping?
Jones is this drill
Oh,
sergeant.
it's
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he's fucking.
That'd be funny if it was.
And Haley Atwell's in it. Get
Yeah.
fucked, bro.
No,
Mm.
I love that movie though. I think it's good, and it also had a bunch of the Captain America callbacks from the comic books too. Like
Oh,
his
the World War
sidekicks
II
and-
outfit is sick.
Yeah,
Like,
I
Yeah,
enjoy it.
that movie was cute. I'm
oh,
good.
it's so good.
Shut up. You like Iron Man 2, dude.
No, I
Yeah,
do
you
like
do.
Iron Man 3 though. So
Iron
I'll
Man
admit to
3
that.
sucks.
I know. Look,
You
hey,
mean Tony Stark the movie?
yeah?
Yeah, no
Oh,
thanks.
shit, it's called Iron Man. What the hell is it supposed to be about?
Well, no,
Iron
there's
Man?
barely any Iron Man in the movie.
Yeah,
No.
I still like the movie kind of.
He
Like, I
suits
like,
up like once in the whole fucking movie.
Well, that's
what
how
I don't
they
like
get you
about
cut.
the movie, but I like that they actually explore his effects from what happened in the first Avengers. Like he's all effed up in the head, and he's not really being Tony. It was
Yeah.
just a cool, different look at him. But there's a lot of things like the Mandarin that was like the worst part of that movie I've ever seen.
They
Next to what
totally
happened to
waste Ben
Pepper.
Kingsley and Guy Pearce. They wasted both of those guys.
Yes, and either way, but so I don't. All my likes don't make sense, but
And
the first
Rebecca
one
Hall.
sucks.
She's in that movie too. I'll kill that movie.
I mean, overall though, my closing thoughts for A Brave New World, because that's what we're here for really at the end of the day, is just for us to kind of give our view on it, because it's getting trashed in the media and shit, and I don't agree with
Good.
that shit. I think I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, 3.5 out of 5. I did find it to be that enjoyable. I think Anthony Mackie, I think they did right by him in this movie, and I think he does carry the film. I think the fighting between him and Giancarlo Esposito is awesome, as well as the fight between Red Hulk. I think Harrison Ford kills it. I did enjoy the CGI. The writing was actually pretty solid, and overall, I liked it. I don't give a fuck. I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Deal with it.
3.5 is a perfect score for that movie because it was good. It was enjoyable. I'll watch it again a couple times. And Anthony Mackie killed it for me. So, yep. And yeah, that Hulk scene, such a sick fight.
So tight, dude. It was good.
What was your rating, Danny?
1.5.
Oh, hell yeah. I remember
Wasn't
when
for
I
me,
saw
sorry.
that.
Love me or hate me, wasn't for me. Red Hulk was cool. Don't get me wrong, but I miss William Hurt, I guess.
I believed you. I fucking
That-
went in there believing you.
Yeah.
Believe what you want to
when you
believe, man.
posted that, I was like, fuck.
No, like we were like, all right, this movie's gonna suck because of your rating. I didn't give a shit about everybody else's rating. I was like, well, Danny says it sucks,
Well,
and Danny's
don't ever
open-minded
trust me.
as
Hey,
fuck.
don't ever trust me with a Marvel movie ever again. Then.
I won't. I
Dude,
absolutely
there you
will
go.
not.
It's easier now because their track record is so kind of up and down now that it's like it's easier to believe that it sucked. So you put it out there, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Sorry about it.
Another Trek.
That's how I do. Deal with it.
Well,
Well,
Brandon, I hope you
in
watch it.
Danny's fairness, he does tend, because there have been a few things comic book wise that have been a little bit more adult oriented that he has actually liked, like The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of something else.
Well, the first couple, I haven't watched a lot of our full season yet, but the first couple episodes of Invincible I've watched. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
very cool. And honestly, it's like
Blade.
Blade. If they did like a really good Spawn movie, I'm sure I might like that. But we know we're never going to
Dude,
get
don't
that.
you
so-
dare trash Michael Jai White's Spawn. I will fuck you in the street.
I've just heard horrible things. I've never watched it, so
Wait, you've never? Oh yeah.
No, John Leguizamo's in it. You guys hate him, so why would I watch that?
I never said I hated
First of
him.
all, he
I
hates
am
him.
not part of that.
I actually also like that Spawn movie. Everyone shits on it, but it's enjoyable. I mean,
I never
I've
seen
seen
And
it when
I
it came
mean-
out, so I really like.
All right, I do hate
It
John
was sick.
Leguizamo, but he's pretty sweet as clown.
he's fucking so good as clown, dude. He's hella good.
Hey, there's a role
Talk about
for everybody.
contradictory, huh?
Hey, there's a role for everybody.
There-
that
yeah,
even
there's
if
a
you hate
role
him,
for
there's
everyone,
one
and
that
he's
you can
covered
be
in
like,
makeup.
All right.
And fucking, he's got a big old fake ass.
He's like, you can't even tell it's him. That's his best role.
No, you can still tell it's him. And
You can tell,
it
but-
does kind of make me mad, actually.
but
Now that I
barely.
think about it, because I fucking hate him so much. God
It's just
damn.
that it's that fucking little grin that he does. You could just tell it's him still. Like, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Captain America: Brave New World.
Go
Are
see
you
it.
loving it? Or are you hating it?
Horrible.
What the fuck are you rating it? Apparently, it's 1.5 for this fucking guy, but it's 3.5
Don't
for
listen
me.
to
so,
this guy. But I think he's down there.
yeah. He's up there for me. It just depends on
He's
the
down
place
there
of the
for me.
frames. Yeah. I'm your boy Practical.
Danny boy, hater.
This is your boy Rex.
And this is Brandon. Bye, guys.
Later.
Don't watch that movie.
No, I
I
hope
hope to Danny. He'll make you watch Madam Web too after.
I'm not gonna watch that. I'm not gonna watch Morbius. All right.
Hey, Morbius was kind of tight, honestly.
Oh, get fucked,
Don't even
bro.
start with that, man. Don't even start.
You love Jared Leto. That's why.
Yeah, he's all right.
I don't mind.
I was
He's a
gonna
pretty
try.
good
I was gonna
actor.
start to trash him. I was like,
I like
no,
him
he
with
is
that
actually
age.
no, he is kind of a piece of crap.
He
Fuck
probably is a piece of crap in real life, but that's why you just
He
watch
is a
Fight
cult
Club and
leader,
watch
isn't he?
him
He's
get
a piece
beat
of
up
shit
hella
human
bad.
being, but I don't think he's a bad actor. I think he's done some good shit and been good in some shit.
in Blade Runner 2049, just like all blind, just like.
I liked him when he had AIDS.
When he had AIDS, yeah. Texas Fire.
Dallas Buyers Club. man.
That
Movie's
what
awesome.
a perfect segue. We'll catch you guys next week.
Get
Bye.
chilly by
Bye.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my